More importantly, it's been a big week. Lots of headlines in Rugby League this week.
Apart from the good football, of course, there's been a lot of controversy about the Barrett situation, which we've talked about, and of course the situation with Adam MacDougall, which we're going to get into pretty shortly as well.
Are you ready for a fight?
Well, mate, he's my old teammate. Hey, we stick tight as Novocastrians.
I'm pretty sure Shane can handle himself when he comes on. Could get a bit feisty, so make sure you're tuning in. He's coming on very soon. Let's get to the situation with Rowan Carroll, who is the great bloke, works at this Channel 9 here, and of course he found this tape, the Trent Barrett incident. In case you missed it, here is what it is. Now, that's what we saw on Friday night during the game as it happened. No mention during commentary, Pete? You were commentating?
No, it's on our blind side. It went through to the video review committee. They didn't pick up anything until this footage became available, which didn't look that good and has obviously led to Trent Barrett spending the next 6 weeks on the sideline. He didn't contest the plea, and it could have been 8 weeks. But, there's been a lot of controversy, the fact that a videotape operator at this organisation sent it straight through to the NRL. And that's,
So what is the problem, Pete? What's been the problem? At the end of the day, I suppose the right result was done, but was it how it was done?
Absolutely. That's my understanding of it. Look, to me, the means justifies the end, and we've got the right result. And I think the greatest testament to that is actually Trent Barrett himself, Peter Dowse and the St George Illawarra Club, who haven't blown up about it. They said, well, it is an incident that probably needed to be brought to light. The fact that it came an unusual way. No, not at all. And they have to be applauded for that. Unfortunately, Trent will spend 6 weeks on the sideline, but, he did the crime, he's doing the time.
And, mate, he took it well, Trent Barrett. He put his hand up at the end of it. He could have whinged and moaned. He put his hand up and said, look, I've done the wrong thing. It was a bad hit. One thing about it is that the game and the broadcaster, it's evolving all the time. And these things happen. We've learned from it. We'll move on.
Look, media manager John Brady said, we don't mind how things come to light. Even if the public sent something in, we would look at it. So, and look, Rowan, there's no malicious intent in Rowan. No. He's a mate of ours. There's no malicious intent there. He had no ulterior motives.
He's actually a Manly supporter. So how good a bloke is he? He's a great bloke.
Well,
Manly supporter.
You put yourself in the same situation, you'd probably do the same thing. You're in there, you spotted something, you hand it on. I think
sell it.
It's okay.
We should show the people, Rowan.
Well, actually, Rowan's on deck tonight. He's working down in one of the dungeons here at Channel 9. He's a hard worker. He works, 20 hours a day, down in tapes, just working on the archival stuff. He's a very...
These are parts of
down there, boys.
This is... Well, we've never been down here before in our lives, have we?
Here he is.
Hey, get in my office! Get in my office! Hello, Chief. Chief, I'm a good boy. I found that tape for you last week. I didn't mean any harm. I was just doing what the Chief wanted me to do. Hey, Chief, I've got another tape for you. Take a look at this. This will make your blood curdle. This bloke's brought the game into disrepute for the last time.
What were you doing? Angry Anderson for a day. Angry Anderson for a day. Oh,
that's unbelievable.
Very good.
That was
looked all right.
Very good.
I actually went home like that.
A little
Mrs. liked it.
Now, listen, the tape operator, Roe, while he was down there, actually had a look, and there's something that else that come on Friday night. A sickening incident on the field, but also something in commentary. Just take a look and a listen.
I don't know what they're looking at here, Peter. Look, even if it touches the Newcastle player, Hornby is within 10 metres of him. And offside. They award this, I'll jump out of the box. If they award this, I will jump out of the box. Oh, get me a parachute! Get a parachute for the big fella! Look out below.
He's waiting. He's got the net out.
Now, scary. We've had one earthquake at Newcastle that went 5.5. But listen, it caused a lot of reaction. I actually jumped on the an internet site, and there is a petition. It's called Make Gould Jump. Now listen, you get on a link, and it's called Make Gould Jump. And I've spoken to Gus. He said if it gets 10,000 hits, he will in fact jump. And there is the link right there. So, look, if you want to jump on and you're sitting at home, jump on and you'll hit there and follow the links on our website and make Phil jump. We're going to talk to Gus a little bit later, I think.
Yeah.
And,
Mate, he'll jump.
10,000. What do you think the chances are at 10?
About
Mate,
15 minutes.
I reckon 3 minutes. He's a great man, Gus. We love him, but a lot of people might want to see him jump out of that. It'd be good if we could
Mate,
do
all
it
he had to
next
say
week.
was he was going to get his gear off. They scored the try. No one would have brought it up. That's all he can.
Actually, there's a fair bit came out of this game. Just a little snippet that I can't say I enjoyed it. Ray Warren is calling as good as he has ever, or as well as he has ever
He's a
called.
genius.
About that. But when it came to Luke DeVico, he gave me just a little bit more information than what I needed. Listen to this.
Is Luke DeVico. He has not got a degree in commercial law, but he's with his head down, his bum up, taking it up the middle. Is Luke DeVico. He has not got a degree in commercial law, but he's with his head down, his bum up, taking it up the middle.
Well, he knows Luke
I didn't know Luke was like that, but
Mate, if you're sitting at home and you're listening to that without seeing the vision, a very different picture to what's actually happening on the field.
you think it was the Mardi Gras, wouldn't you?
One in three, they reckon. 1 in 3.
1 in 3
There
what,
you go.
mate?
1 in 3.
What?
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
The Bulldogs take on the Knights, and the question I was going to ask you before, Joey's been flat. What about for this game?
Well, Fatty, I've seen him. He does. There's no way around it. He looks very flat at the moment. I think it's a bit of a hangover from giving away the rep football. Ideally, there's no doubt he needs a week break. He gets the bye after this game. We're just hoping they can get through.
Well,
The
it'll be a
Knights are
tough
actually the last team in the competition to get a bye, but both had losses last week. Prior to that, they've won their last 4. Bulldogs are improving. It'll be a tough challenge for Newcastle.
That'll be a tough
but
one
they'll lift.
against the Bulldogs, who have been in pretty good form of late.
He's moulded the men from the Steel City, yet Michael Hagan's greatest challenge still lies ahead. This morning, the Knights coach is live to talk rugby league.
After the break, Newcastle Knights coach Michael Hagan joins us live in the studio.
Down just outside the 40, he's lost the ball.
I didn't think it would look that bad. You know, I didn't think it looked good.
It's totally unacceptable for a player to come out and publicly criticise his teammates.
This week in rugby league, high tackles, high jinks, lowly teams and lower scores. First, the high tackle. Everyone missed it, but when a TV tape operator found it through the week, the NRL got it, and Trent Barrett copped 6 weeks.
I was surprised. I didn't think it would look that bad. You know, I didn't think it looked good.
Adam MacDougall thinks the same of his team, South Sydney. Only MacDougall told a journo and was told to have a rest this weekend.
It's totally unacceptable for a player to come out and publicly criticise his teammates.
Over at Parramatta, plenty has been going wrong. Even the mascot can't do his job.
That's not a good omen, one would think. That did not go according to plan.
But finally, the scoreboard went to plan against the Roosters last Sunday. Just after nearly blowing a 20-point lead, Para held on, but they still weren't happy.
And I'm annoyed. That's rubbish, that is.
Not as rubbish as the weather, though, for their next match on Friday night against the Dragons. With 10 seconds to go after 3 field goals, it was 2-1 Dragons. And then it got real surreal.
Just a matter of 20 seconds left in the game. What's going on there, Peter?
Well, Gerald, no!
St George will score! They'll get the ball over Cooper!
Yes, Cooper scored. Jeremy Smith from Para pushed the ref. The ref didn't know it.
This player here from where I'm standing accused of something in the back. All right, I didn't see it. Righty, Jeremy, that's going on report.
Yeah, don't deal with it now. That'll give us time to look at that next week.
Didn't see it and didn't feel it. Now, if that wasn't a bizarre game of football, I honestly do not know what was. The Dragons and Parramatta on Friday night, and to try to unravel that, plus everything else that's happening in rugby league this week, it is good morning to Michael Hagan. Lovely to have you here on Sportsworld.
Thank you.
A lot to talk about. Obviously, last night wasn't quite the result that your side was after. You went down 38-22 to the Bulldogs.
No, it wasn't. We seemed to run Sonny Bill Williams back into form, and Hazem El Masri was absolutely brilliant on the night. And, I mean, Canterbury's forwards was just simply too strong and too powerful for us on the night.
On radio, they were saying that first 20 minutes was as fast, they reckon, as the first 20 minutes of State of Origin. And it was the forwards, as you mentioned, O'Mealy and Sonny Bill just demolished you guys. Was that the best form that you've seen Sonny Bill in?
I think for this year, certainly. I mean, we know what he's capable of in the last year or two, but certainly got back to something like his best form and seems to be enjoying himself again. And and I guess our guys on the receiving end of a couple of his tackles and a couple of his runs.
Quite a few mistakes from your team, and obviously in a game like this with this much pressure as well, that must have been driving you nuts. But in terms of Joey, we just saw Mark O'Mealy put a big hit on Joey Johns. Andrew Johns made it pretty clear over the last couple of weeks that he has been fatigued. He's feeling the fatigue, which is why he didn't want to go back into State of Origin. The bye next week, you must be feeling blessed that you've got it.
Yeah, I think, that's been pointed out. We've had, I guess, 13 weeks straight with the last team to get the bye, but I thought our performance last night was disappointing, given that we were disappointing last week. So were Canterbury against Brisbane. We knew Canterbury would turn up as they do at Telstra and play very well. And I think it was a game where it was 16-all half-time, and we just made too many errors in the second half on play 1, play 2, play 3 against a quality football team, and you know what happens on the back of that.
You see Joey, week in, week out, and we see him obviously in the game coverage, etc. He just looks frustrated at times, and is the fatigue starting to build on him? And where's his time frame or his space at the moment? Do you reckon he's going to stick around at the end of the year? Oh, I think it's an opportunity for us to recharge a bit this week. I mean, we're a little bit out of shape too. With we've got David Siege, Milton Thaiday, both very good fullbacks at the club who are out at the moment. Kurt Gidley's playing at fullback. Todd Lowry, who's not really a 6, playing out of position, and I guess more pressure comes back onto Andrew in that situation. Jared Mullen's out for a couple of weeks, so without making excuses, I think Andrew has more pressure on him at first receiver because he doesn't have Kurt Gidley or Jared Mullen taking some pressure off him. Surfing will fix him.
Hopefully.
Yeah. What about El Masri? I mean, as you mentioned, he's the highest try scorer of all time now. He got his 600th career goal last night. How do you rate him?
I think I'm an old Canterbury player.
Yeah,
he's a tremendous player for their club. I think he's probably underrated in the terms of what he brings to their team. I mean, he kicks the goals, scores the tries, catches the football, makes tremendous runs, defends very well, and I mean, does everything, so well for them consistently. And I wasn't surprised to see him do what he did last night, unfortunately.
Yeah, fantastic. He's a terrific player, unfortunately. Now, on Friday night, we saw the vision there before it. It finished 8 points to 1, believe it or not. The Dragons defeated the Eels. Now, you sat down and watched it. What did you make of all that? I mean, really, it wasn't a spectacular game until we got to the scoreline. No, it wasn't, but I think it was a tough game, and I think both teams, obviously knew how important the game was, and I still think it was a pretty good spectacle in the conditions. Both teams really fought it out for, 75 or 80 minutes, and I think 1-1 might have been a fair result in the end, but I guess, with Golden Point, there's not many games that finish level anymore, unfortunately, because I think, probably both teams deserved a point, as it turned out.
So much talk has been about the fact that you and Brian Smith swap places next year. Now, Brian, of course, the Eels have capitulated. He's gone overseas. The Knights aren't struggling as much. Why do you think it's had a different reaction on both sides? I'm
not exactly sure. I mean, I'm really committed to the team for this year, and I've been there for a long time, and I want to make sure that we have a good year, and I think the players are enjoying themselves, generally speaking, apart from the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But and the fans, I think, they're important to the team, and we want to, finish on a good note and move on.
These days, Michael, it's not just when the coach goes. It involves a whole coaching structure, doesn't it? And what's the situation at Newcastle at the moment? Because I understand that people like David Fairley and some of the other members of your current coaching staff have been told that probably they won't get their jobs next year, or they can't be promised their jobs next year. How's that filtered through? Well,
I guess it's a situation for the club to work through. It's disappointing if commitments have been made to certain people for this year. Obviously, I mean, that's what we're working towards, but then as far as next year's concerned, Brian Smith might have some different ideas on what he wants and what he wants to do. So really, I guess it's a matter for the club and Brian Smith to sort out. But I just hope that the current staff are looked after and have a place at the club.
How are you actually going to do it next year? Are you going to move to Sydney, or are you going to be?
Yeah, I'll get myself organised down here, and I think the commitment is to Parramatta for the next 3 years, and I've got to make a commitment to get there and get the job done.
How long is it going to take you to work in when you get to Parramatta? You got to start afresh. People want results from round one.
Oh, I guess there'll be some opportunity between now and pre-season to get some things sorted out and get to know a few people along the way. But in the end, you've got to get their work with the current staff that are there, and I'm sure they're committed to Parramatta for the next couple of years, as I will be, and see how we get on.
All right, well, let's look at one of the other matches last night. The Storm against the Roosters. The Storm got up by 4 points, 20-16 at Olympic Park. It was their 10th straight win at home. Now, all eyes were on Billy Slater. This is English, of course. He got another 2 tries, but...
Just another 2.
Yeah, I know. Well, he seems to be rolling them out left, right and centre, but watching this match, you couldn't help but feel that it actually answered or raised more questions for the Queensland State of Origin side. Do you think Billy Slater did enough? He sat out the first half. He only came on for a little bit in the second. Do you think he did enough to be claimed? Would you select him if you were still State of Origin coach?
I think it's difficult, only having 20 or 30 minutes back in first grade after such a long period off. Origin's probably the quickest brand of football you can play in. I think really Inglis will be obviously retained probably as a winger. I think maybe Carmichael Hunt might come in at fullback at the expense of Matty Bowen. I think Darren Lockyer will be retained at 5'8", and Slater may come into the frame for game 3 in Melbourne. Might be a good opportunity for him to come back.
Yeah. But you've been in that position before too. I mean, Wayne Bennett is in the paper and making suggestions to the current team. You've been in that position before in State of Origin. How difficult is it when you're a coach in State of Origin to say, this is what I'm doing, don't hassle me?
I think there's so much interest and there's so many opinions on who should be in the team, how you should play, and you've got to be strong enough to say, I guess, this is what we think is the best team to go with, as they thought that was the best team to go with in game 1. Criticism on the back of the first game performance. Queensland forwards didn't probably stand up to the likes of Willie Mason and O'Mealy and co, and now there's call for changes, and that's, I guess, typical of any losing team and any state that is pretty passionate about their football.
Michael, you're the sort of guest that we could chat to for honestly half an hour, but we're running out of time, so thank you for coming and joining us here on Sportsworld, and we'll get to speak to you again soon, hopefully.
Enjoy your week off, mate.
Thank you.
Well deserved. And the other game last night, by the way, the Raiders defeated the Rabbitohs 24 points to 22, so the Rabbitohs are now...
They're getting closer. They're edging closer to a win.
0-12. I'll get one, won't they?
I hope it's... we had 13 in a row last year, Matt, so one more would take the pressure off us.
Thanks for coming in, mate.
All right, the Newcastle Knights also having a great year on the back of the great form of Andrew Johns, of course, and one shudders to think what will happen if Johns gets injured or is not there. Well, but he is still in great form.
The thing about Andrew Johns is the fact that the influence he has on the other players, Paul. He's a great player in his own right.
They want to play with him, want to do well for him.
And look, they lost their first 13 matches last year. They finished with the wooden spoon. The players like Tolar and Riley Brown and Reagan Tanner, they just grow an extra leg when Andrew Johns is out there. They try things in the skill department that they just won't attempt when he's not on the field.
I actually think he's not in great form, Andrew Johns, and I know that's a little bit hard.
Well, the last couple of weeks maybe not.
Exactly, and I think it comes from such the high standard that he sets for himself, but the last couple of weeks he's just been a little bit off the pace.
Well, he has admitted that he's down on form. He has admitted that he's a bit flat after the Test match, and that took a lot out of him.
And I think the buys come at just the right time for Newcastle.
Steve Simpson in great form for the Knights as well. He had another big game last night in their loss.
Hazem El Masri began the game being tested by Andrew Johns, but it was a Johns penalty that saw the first points. Soon Hazem's name was back in lights as he made the most of some Sonny Bill brilliance.
Bill Williams puts the shimmy, shake on, finds Hazem El Masri.
The Knights' first try can be put down to the luck of the Irish.
To Brian Carney, the only man chasing is Willie Mason, and Willie simply can't foot it.
His team up 6-4, Andrew Johns felt the full force of an in-form Sonny Bill Williams. But it didn't slow Joey down.
Couple of right footsteps still going.
Next play, the Knights stretched the lead to 12-4.
Beautiful offload by Kirk Reynoldson.
Olsworth crossed for the Dogs, but it was ruled no try. The Knights had gained no advantage from an earlier error by Mason. Corey Hughes needed no assistance when he emulated one of the trademark plays of his chairman, George Proponis.
Corey Hughes scores a try for the Dogs.
Down 12-10, Corey's second put the Dogs in front.
Short ball, flat at best. Back to Corey Hughes.
But a neat backline movement meant the score was 16-all at the break.
They continue the movement out to George Carmon. They have numbers, the Knights.
Sonny Bill Williams continued his best game of the season, while the Knights' main man showed he is still a little below his brilliant best. Although it was his great cover defence that stopped the big Kiwi a few minutes later. There was no one to prevent El Masri from equalling Terry Lamb's try-scoring record for the club of 123. The home side up 22-16, Holsworth's four-pointer was as easy as you like to stretch the lead.
Who strolls through a gap to the line.
Sonny Bill continued to wreak havoc.
Sonny Bill Williams once again, straight down the centre. How fast is he?
Rejuvenated Brent Sherwin guided a grubber for Haslam to break Lamb's record with a hat-trick.
El Masri hat-trick.
Down 32-16, Clint Newton had a chance to grab a double.
To Clint Newton, he goes to the line.
The Knights kept coming at the Dogs.
A kick ahead here by Anthony Quinn. El Masri in pursuit.
Rennie Matua's try, nailing the win.
What they had to fix up, and here goes Rennie Matua. That's it.
But it was a Haslam El Magic night. This goal, his 600th, and he has now scored the most tries for his club with 124. The Bulldogs home, 38-22. And welcome to the Sunday Footy Show. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Around the grounds for Elastoplast, our brand new sponsors, and great to have them on board. Elastoplast, sponsoring Around the Grounds. Now, team news first up, and an easy job for me today. The Tigers and the Cowboys, both as per the program, 1-17. So Cowboys Tigers spoke to both Roy Simmons and Kelly Egan at the Cowboys, and they are as per the program. Now, injury news. Matt Gidley copped a poke in the eye from one of his own players. Here it is there, Todd Lowry, finger in the eye to Matt Gidley, and the word is a possible fractured eye socket. He will need x-rays on that Matty Gidley as he walked off the field there last night. Now, you did see Andrew Johns injure his arm, but he will be okay. They do have the bye next week.
Why would, in prison, why would a bloke get dressed up like a woman? Can someone explain it? Yeah, that's funny.
Welcome back to the Sunday Race. That was last week where we asked one of the big questions. I got a stack of emails responding to that question, and if it's okay with you, I'm not going to read any of them.
Is there one?
I'm not going to read any of them.
There's one from Bubba from Long Bay.
There's Bubba, there's the Python, there's P. Biter. Hello, Biter. I'm just not going to read any of them.
P. Biter.
A mixed grill. Right, I want to take you through some interesting sports events from during the week, and Gus and myself were up watching the Monaco Grand Prix the other night, texting each other, how good's this? What about Kimi Räikkönen during the week? We talked about Andrew Johns last week, Matty, running off from the Newcastle game against the Dragons. Yeah. This is what happens in Grand Prix racing. They get out of the car, he's got a bit of trouble, and then he starts walking. Yeah. And walking. And walking.
Go to the bank.
Now, where's he going? Is he going back to the pits? Is he going back to the pits? No, 20 minutes later, he's on his $80 million yacht off Monaco. He's got women there, he's got his mates over. What a great sport.
He's got blokes in dresses.
What a great sport.
It's all happening. Well, that's what Andrew Johns did.
So where did he go? Where did he go?
He was out at Nobby's on his tinny, catching a bit of flatty. Beautiful.
And how would you cook that flathead on the barbecue?
I'm going to go in, mate, you know.
That's an in-joke. That's an in-joke.
No in-joke.
No in-joke.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us tonight on the Footy Show, courtesy of Jim Beams and Crazy Johns. They're great sponsors.
Great sponsors.
And Rogue Traders, how good were they? All right, it's time now for Fat's Big Five. But look, what's happened? We're missing someone.
Go on.
I think we've got a special guest Big Fat Fiver. Here he is, Reggie Boy.
How are you, mate? What about those? What about you, you old Queenslander?
Don't talk about me, Fat. It's great to be back. I've been trying to get a start in the Today Show. They won't have me. Nah.
Reg, I've got to say, early in the season, you've had that makeover and it just didn't suit. But it's good. You've let yourself go again, haven't you?
Thanks,
Back to the
Pete.
normal
Really
diet.
appreciate it. No, well, I'll tell you, I've been into a little bit of training. I don't want to give away too much, but I'm ready to go. I'll
Next
talk
month,
about
Reg,
it later.
you're here for the big fat five.
Okay.
What
Yep.
we're going to do,
Now
we're
what
gonna
happens?
we ask a question, I just want an opinion.
Sure.
Try and keep it
He's
to
big on opinions, him.
short if you can,
He's
all right?
got an opinion.
So here we go, boys. They're all from the judiciary. So question one, we're going to see a little bit of video, then give you your answer, all right? Relates to the Reuben Wiki getting off. There it is there. Charge dropped.
That was a kneeing charge.
Kneeing charge, all right? What do you think? Light, spot on?
But I think in the first place, getting 8 weeks is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because, mate, it's only the loading. Those players that have had incidents before get too much loading. I reckon it's ridiculous. That was a 1 or 2 week suspension in its own right. He was facing 8 who got nothing. I'm glad he got nothing. That was the right way.
No, he got off on a technicality.
Yeah.
Come to me. Got off on a technicality. Elbows and knees do more damage in our game than anything else. I love Reuben Wiki because he plays with his body, but if you go in like that, someone's going to get hurt. There had to be some time on the sideline.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you look at the height he went in and the speed and the velocity, all I'll say is there's a lot of nervous sheep in New Zealand this week. He's a good bloke, Rubes.
I don't know it was intentional. I thought it was almost accidental, and to be honest, I'm glad he got off as well. All right, this one relates to Billy Slater getting 2 weeks for that. What's doing, Chief?
Mate, I feel sorry for Billy. Like, he just come off a 7 week suspension. First game back, gets another 2. Obviously going to miss out on Origin. Mate, I think that's on the borderline, or maybe a week. They're cracking down on it. Maybe it's okay.
Yeah, look, when I saw the incident in real time in the game, I didn't think anything of it. Look, I can understand why they've given it to him, but he can be a little bit disappointed.
All right. Reg?
Look, maybe I'm different. Where I come from, that's the beginning of a mating ritual. Honestly, and the fact that the judiciary has chosen to give Billy Slater 2 weeks shows that they are party-pooping virgins. Come and get me.
All right, yeah, look, I thought it was fair enough. He obviously no intention either, but it was one of those accidents that happens, and he got a couple of weeks. No dramas there. This one relates to Matt Cooper's 1 week ban.
No, that's Ben Cross. Lalea Paya got 10 weeks for this one.
Yeah, Lalea Paya got 10 weeks, yep.
And
the other bloke,
Ashley Harrison.
Yep. Yeah. Chief?
Mate, gee whiz, 10 weeks is tough, but, mate, if you're going to crack down on it, I suppose you've got to crack down on it, you know. 1 week for, is it Ashley Harrison?
Yeah.
I think that's fair. No, I'm okay. Pete?
I think it's the most dangerous thing I've ever seen on a football field, and the only good thing that came out of it was the fact that Ben Cross got up. He played on a little bit later in the game. Look, 10 weeks, it could have been anything. I think, 10 weeks, it makes a statement, but it could have been longer.
Yep, I've got to agree with you guys. When you get 1 between the legs and 3 up top, it tends to get messy. But seriously, I thought 10 weeks was too soft. I thought we should have put him in jail.
Yeah, I think it was very dangerous. Sends the message to rugby league players, just boys, don't lift, because, in the end, someone's going to get really badly hurt, so don't lift. Now, I've got Matt Cooper. Is that there somewhere or not? It's here it comes. 1 week for that for Matt Cooper. Chief?
Oh, mate, fair enough. Look, it's horizontal. He had the leg, his arm between the legs. It's the same as the other ones. 1 week's about right.
Yeah, I put it in the same category as the Billy Slater one. If we're going to be consistent, then I'm not surprised that they did get a little bit of time on the sideline.
Fair dinkum, foreplay.
Fair enough. 1 week for that one, no worries there. And the last question
Yes,
for you,
mate.
Chief. How would Reg go as a boxer, do you think?
A big boxer, eh?
Be careful, Hagan.
I reckon he'd go right early, mate, but I reckon he'd slow up. And is there any chance you get that $80 I lent you last time on the show? You bludgeoned 80 off me last time. Will you get that back, please?
I handed it to your missus. Nah, she's a great girl, Pamela.
What, the $80?
Yeah.
I think if you were going to fight Reg, you'd have to go the body shots, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You might lose your fist
What
in
about
there,
your
but
comic cuts?
you'd have to go low.
Soft as a 2-minute egg, your
Mate,
comics.
seriously, boys, back when I played, right, mate, the only thing that used to get in the way of my football was the boxing gloves on my hand. Now, that's when real men played the game, okay? No, mate,
I'll tell you should have worn them to bed, the boxing gloves, I'm telling you, because obviously you've got massive problems. Well, boys, speaking of boxing, there's a newcomer on the scene. I think he wants to take you on.
Not Frank Fayasolo.
No, it's Trevor Tancock. Okay. Have a look at this.
Come on, Trevor. 50s. Hey, Red Reagan. This is me, Trevor Tancock, the baller from Dubbo. I'm here to challenge you to a fight. All I hear, red's this, red's that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm here anytime, anywhere, pal. What are you gonna do? Trevor Tancock goes bananas on you.
Can someone explain to me what the friggin' hell he said? Are we going to interpret it? No, but seriously, Trevor, boys, it's ironic that he wants to challenge me, because let me tell you something, people. Reg Reagan is in the shape of his... Get it off.
Tell you what, Trevor, if you want to go anywhere, anytime, right here, I'm ready for you. Let's go.
Tancock's going to knock him out.
Reminds me of someone. Maybe a bloke who plays for the Tigers.
Looks a bit like
yeah, it could be. Yeah, we'll check that out.
And finally, Joey Johns. Look, everybody's been saying he's been a bit down on form. He just needs a rest. He's taken a good vacation over the last few days. I think you'll find he'll be back at his best football very soon. That's everything from here, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Well done.
Now, one of the players for New South Wales that they're looking forward to having a big game on Wednesday night will be Steve Simpson. We've heard that big Willie Mason wants to play in the NFL. Ryan Cross possibly may go to rugby union. Well, Steve's saying that rugby union may be a possibility for him as well.
I played a little bit at school and enjoyed it, so I'd probably, I suppose, rather stay in league, but if the option come up, you never know.
Well, you seem perfect for a rugby role. Would a World Cup be enticing?
Yeah, I suppose it would be. Like, of course, everyone sort of would love to play in them tournaments. There's a lot of exposure and it looks like a great time. So, yeah, of course, that'd be very inviting.
Ken's back with more from the World Cup after the break. Also, Queensland send the state of origin to a Melbourne decider. We'll have some dramatic news on Andrew Johns.
Welcome back to Germany. The Socceroos are there behind me there. They're training, getting ready for that big game against Brazil. And once again, it's a very, very warm day here. But there's some explosive rugby league news we can reveal tonight. Andrew Johns told New South Wales Origin players he's ready to make a shock return to the Blues. His decision came after the 30-6 drubbing handed out by Queensland. Blues halves Brett Finch and Braithen Astor both under pressure to hold their positions for the series decider in Melbourne.
Andrew Johns consoled Brett Finch after last night's thumping by the Maroons. In the back of Johns' mind, an Origin comeback to help the battered Blues.
I think I got caught up in the emotion of it all, but look, I have to have a real big think about it. Probably not, mate.
Yeah, Joey seemed pretty up for it after the game. You know, he sort of thought that maybe Melbourne would be a good opportunity for him. If he plays, it's probably game over.
When the Blues arrived in Sydney this afternoon, the Johns' return was being whispered about.
Yeah, well, I've heard vicious rumours that Joey might be putting his hand up for game 3. Mate, that's his decision. You know, of course, if he says he wants to play, the job will probably be his.
The Blues selector sent an SOS out to Johns before the first Origin match and he knocked them back. But since that time, he's had a weekend away at Lord Howe Island, become engaged to his girlfriend and is in a far better frame of mind when it comes to football.
The same can't be said of an Astor. First, an intercept pass which allowed Justin Hodges to make a point.
Yeah, not a good feeling. It's never good to throw an intercept, especially in Origin.
And then there was another misguided effort, which saw Queensland bound away.
Will he get the bounce? What a pickup! He gets the ball away! They're in again!
And things weren't any better for Finch. He's gone from game breaker to endangered species, fearing Craig Gower will be recalled.
Obviously, it wasn't a good performance, so it'd be understandable if they brought Gowie back in.
Danny Weidler, National 9 News.
Quickly. Changes in the Blues outfit, what do you think?
Well, obviously they'd like to think that they could stick together because that was too bad to be true. But obviously the halves will come into the spotlight. I guess they'll be looking.
But the halves got so many raps for the first game. They both played so well.
Yeah, but probably through default. Obviously Brett Finch coming in the first place. So I'd say we'd have a look at Craig Gower and Matt Orford.
Can I just toss in Andrew Johns? Do you think he'll get a phone call?
It's been spoken about. It's happened at the Dragons. Mark Gasnier shifting to 5'8", and the halves probably weren't first choice. Brett Finch especially. Someone else coming and taking that 7 role, and maybe Mark Gasnier pushing in one. Matt Cooper coming into the centres.
I'm sure that will be discussed as well. I like the way that the Queensland team adapted. They were out-kicked first game, especially the long kicking game from Monasta. Queensland last night kicked from 2 out. Darren Lockyer kicking under no pressure whatsoever. And the other luxury I thought they had, Jacob Lilliman did not come into the game until it was 20-0. And that's a wonderful way to make your debut, to come into that comfortable atmosphere.
Can I just say this to the New South Wales selectors? Don't be too worried or too shy about leaving the same team. They've done it in game 1. I reckon they can do it again because it's really tough as a player. I remember myself, when you lose a big game in the second one, you want the opportunity to fix it up. I spoke to them after the game. They can do it. They can do it. So give them a chance.
Well, I'll tell you what. I hope they come to Melbourne very prepared for a big game. As I said, to sell out at Telstra Dome, and it'll be a fantastic game down there. I still reckon that when they run out, Andrew Johns will be in the number 7 jumper for New South Wales. That is my tip. You heard it first here on the Footy Show. And as we go to the break, we mic'd up both Ben Ikin and Joey Johns on the sideline last night. Here it is.
Hi, buddy. How big is Carmichael's legs?
His upper body's like a surfboard.
Is there? I was going to say he's big around the arse, but I wouldn't dare say that with him. A bit of pizza.
Hey, get shit on your face.
You want some pizza, mate? I didn't have dinner.
Go! Go, you bastard!
I still reckon New South Wales will win.
We don't care if it's 3-0. We just want to win.
Yeah, I'm with you, Go, Tomato. Oh.
Gadby.
That pizza's giving me incredible wind. It might be the game.
Don't put me on. I'm about to go live. Defence, marker defence, kick chase, support play, here they go!
Okay, let's have a look at the 3 remaining matches. I came down on the plane today with Andrew Johns. They were off tonight to take on the Warriors over at Ericsson Stadium, and there might be a couple of changes in the Knights lineup. Chief, I know you can't give away too much, but a tough road trip this one over the water. Can you have a road trip over water?
Mate, we will have a road trip over water. Look, I can tell you that Danny Badeiras at this stage looks like he'll be pulling out with a rest. Got a lot of niggling injuries, played so much football. I think David Siege is also struggling with a hamstring. We'll have to wait and see with that one.
Okay, plenty happening in the game of rugby league, and the man who knows it all is at the Jim Boom Bar. Come in, Danny Weidler.
A few guys touched earlier in the night on Andrew Johns and rumblings about Origin. Well, I can tell you that he has told some of the Origin players that he wants to play in Game 3. That's big news. Now, there's going to be a process that has to go through. I think you'll find that he'll wait to be asked to actually take part in that side. That could happen after the weekend. This is what Andrew Johns had to say about the matter today.
Oh, mate, I think I got caught up in the emotion of it all, but look, I have to have a real big think about it. Probably not, mate. I don't think it mattered who would have been at halfback last night. Just the weight of possession Queensland had, and yeah, it wouldn't have mattered who was the halfback. I think Brett Finch will come under a bit of criticism, but everyone knows the halfback can only go as good as the team goes, and unfortunately, the team was on the back foot. So.
Watch for that situation to develop. While Kamali was happy to stick his hand up for Origin today, Andrew Johns won't do the same. He'll wait to see how he plays against the Warriors and then wait for a phone call from selectors. If that happens, then Origin will be on his radar.
From Ericsson Stadium in Auckland, it's the Warriors and the Newcastle Knights.
It's shaping up as an intriguing contest. The visitors with a great record here. Conversely, the locals battling to get some momentum in season 2006. Good afternoon and a warm welcome from Ericsson Stadium in Auckland. It's the Warriors versus Newcastle in round 15 of the Telstra Premiership. The Newcastle Knights 8-5, but outside the top 4 after weekend results thus far. And the Warriors second last, of course, coming into this one with a 5-8 win-loss record. The Newcastle side, they have got some changes here today. The major absentees, David Siege and New South Wales captain Danny Badiris. The new fullback is debutant Nathan Hinton. The new hooker, Riley Brown, who had been originally selected on a 5-man bench. And with the changes, in comes number 18, Kirk Randallson. The coach, Michael Hagan.
And talking about coaches, there's a Kiwi coach there and Bluey McLennan as well. His side involved in the barter card match as a curtain raiser this afternoon, getting a close win up against the Leopards here on this side of the Tasman.
Speaking of wins, the Warriors coming into this after that success against the Sydney Roosters last week. A subtle change for them and Ivan Cleary from the team that was announced on Tuesday. Guttenbeil reverts to the bench. In comes Michael Luck, who hasn't missed a beat for the Warriors this season. And backing up from Origin 2, Queensland favourite, Warriors captain Stephen Price, who today plays his 250th game in the NRL. The coach, Ivan Cleary.
In solidarity in the halves with Rowe Party and also Ravelli. Will that trend continue? Fiend at 9 has been good for them in their last month of football. I'd like to see them spin the ball a little bit wider, Mannering to see some space out wide if they're going to test Newcastle down the edges today. But the Warriors side, well, it'll be wet underfoot here today. Sun shining as Andrew Johns will lead the Knights out. Craig Smith to follow.
Here come the Newcastle Knights. Andrew Johns, arguably the greatest player of the modern era, does not have his partner in crime in Danny Badiris here today, but of course he's a man who can do it himself if need be, and has a tremendous record against this Auckland-based team.
Certainly one of those trips that he enjoys doing, coming to Ericsson, but let's not underestimate the absence of Badiris in the acting half today. He's one of the most selective players coming out. Certainly the catalyst for so much of their momentum, so much of their forward charges.
Well, it does cap off a perfect week for Stephen Price, no doubt about that. It's a different story for Newcastle, of course. Let's go to Andrew Johns. He's with Peter.
Andrew, we just spoke with Stephen Price and he's had 2 good wins this week. It's been a bad week for the Newcastle and yourself particularly.
Oh, mate, that was awful, you know. We had the bye and making all the right noises, blokes, you know, saying they're up for it and that, but appalling performance, really. We were beating every facet of the game. It's disappointing.
Mate, I thought in the opening 5-10 you looked as though you had bought your game here, but then just coming unstuck with unforced errors, but it got worse.
Yeah, mate, you know, just that close to it, you know. We created probably 3 or 4 chances in the first half and just can't put them to bed. It's same as the second half, you know. We created chances and we're just not playing good at the moment.
And the Warriors defensively, you got to recognise that as well.
Very strong, mate. You know, especially their forwards. They were negating our go forward, and then on the other hand, they were rolling over the advantage line, creating plenty of room for their backs.
Okay, Andrew. Well, good luck next week.
Mate, cheers.
Going forward, what's there to do? I mean, it makes it 3 in a row now down the toilet.
Yeah, that's right. We had hoped to sort of set that straight today. The last 2 games, we were very disappointed. We had the bye, we had time to regroup, and that makes it a bit more disappointed that we set our stall out before the game. We really wanted to, you know, get ourselves back on track, but We'll go again next week. We're just disappointed we didn't get a go today.
Did you watch the test last night?
I did. I went to the game. We was robbed as well. Knock on that first try.
All right, mate, go and look after yourself.
Well, I say the best thing in a rugby league sense, that is. He got a try here today, Daryl, but I'll tell you what, Newcastle, they're in a bit of a rut.
Well, yes, I don't think it'll be too much of a problem for them. If you remember this time last year, Newcastle, well, they hadn't hardly had a win, and they come in within a whisker of making the 8 last year on the back of a great run home. They're a lot better place this year. They didn't get the money or the chocolates, as you call it today, Costo, but I think they're in a good position to make a run, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks' time for the back end of the competition.
Sleepy markers cost the Knights first points.
Nathan Fiend.
Then this play that surely deserved something. It was exciting to watch, but finished with a penalty.
Oh my goodness, and a reach out for the try, no!
Big Bad Guttenbeil had the Warriors steaming downfield, and Fiend was seeing double. An unlikely win secure when Ropati stepped around Johns and raced away. It was Newcastle's 3rd straight loss, and Quinn's reaction said it all. Clinton Fletcher, National 9 News.
Hello, boys. Sam?
Is that the best you had, Sam? Just that little jab? Is that it? Mate, that was the worst punch I've ever seen.
Well, Ed, we're not trying to promote that this is a good way to settle arguments, but it was just it was unfortunate. I don't know what that man had in mind, to be honest. As I left, I walked out casually. You could see that, and I could hear the madding crowd gathering behind me. And Gary, God love him, he's fending off about 200 of them behind me. I've strolled out and got a cab quickly out of the joint, and Gary's got beaten within an inch of his life. But no, I didn't. We did see Matty Johns in the background there too. Yeah, he was laughing. Stepping sideways.
After 2 days with Sammy, I wanted to punch shit out of him as well.
On that note, we'll take a break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, get ready because Reagan takes on Munich.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Frankfurt, the financial hub of Germany. A city of old and new, but mainly new, after we bombed the crap out of the World War II. But this is not a fucking getaway story. This is the story about one man, Reagan, this poor prick, and 3,000 of these. Soccer Australia and John Howard, in their infinite wisdom, has appointed me as the official ambassador of national pride. And today, me and the Fanatics take the Aussie Express to a little town called Kaiserslautern to watch our boys kick the shit out of the Japs. I still love Australia, guys. Love it. Yeah. I just want to comment about the Japanese. You may get off the train and they'll come up here and they'll look they're so small and cute and friendly. But boys, I got one word for you. Kokoda, okay? Boys, who's the player that's going to do it for Australia? We've got a few boys here from Bankstown. So at least we know that if we don't win the World Cup, we'll steal the bastard. Problem is, mate, you can't tell the birds from the blokes over here. You know what I mean? Well, this is Wazza. Now, he put together this tour. Here's the head honcho, the big Bicky, the big cheese of the tour. Now, Waz, tell us about it, mate.
Mate, it's been relentless. 3,000 idiots. They're all having a good time, though, and, yeah, mate, it's been crazy. And unfortunately, they started drinking at 8 a.m. today, so we could be in a bit of trouble for the train back.
Yeah, that's disgusting, drinking at 8 a.m. It's no good at all. I'm going to do a deal with you, righto? If we win, you lay off our whales.
Go Australia, boys!
Okay, just settle down. You're peaking too early, okay? if you win, Queensland's yours, okay? I've been dry reaching for the last half an hour. It's got it on my breath. 2-hour train journey, everywhere you looked it was green and gold. Unfortunately for me, it was mainly green due to motion sickness. And then we reached our destination, Kaiserslautern. I bid farewell to my prodigies and wished them luck. There was no more that I could teach them. It was up to them now to get behind our boys and give it to those bastard Japanese.
Reagan in fine form.
Socceroos! The Socceroos! Well, that's the soccer we are looking the part. It's the drinking and shagging in our nation's hearts. And in Germany we're getting a start. It's the Socceroos for some Latin tarts. I found their weakness, I reckon I did right. Brazilian blokes don't know how to fight. We're gonna be Munich, it's in our hands. They'll probably beat us, so let's beat them in a fifth instead. Stuff the ball, kick Ronaldo. He's overweight, he chokes like Nick Faldo. Stuff the ball, just kick Ronaldo and all those other fat Brazilian guys. Stuff the ball, just kick Ronaldo and book a dentist for Ronaldinho. Stuff the ball, just kick Ronaldo. I tell you, Brazilians can't fly. Come on, boys, kick him at the Jets crackers. You know what? The bloody just can't fly. Complain, but us Aussies go bush rather than abstain. Sure they're pretty but they've got no brains. And by the 19th minute they'll have undie stains. I found their weakness, you know it's true. Brazilian boys don't know how to blue. We've drawn them in Munich, it's in our hands. We'll pinch their shielders and we'll beat them in a stick instead. Stuff the ball, just kick Ronaldo. He's overweight, he chokes like Nick Faldo. Stuff the ball, kick Ronaldo and all those other fat Brazilian guys. Stuff the ball, just kick Ronaldo and book a dentist for Ronaldinho. Stuff the ball, just kick Ronaldo. Oh, I tell you, Brazilians can't fly. You listen to me, Harry and Viduka. Kick it where it hurts, boys. The bloody just can't fly.
Culture with a capital K to Munich. And Matty, I know you're a good friend of Reg's.
Yes.
Understand he had to actually ring George Michael to get permission to use the track.
We actually sought permission off George Michael, and he said that he'd never had a song so disrespected and said no, so we just released the bastard anyway.
Matt, can I get you with another selection question, please, mate? Joey Johns, is he any hope, and how much would you love to have the king there?
Yeah, mate, I can't sort of say how close he is to giving a green light or a red light there, but you know, last year from a personal level, playing a game with 2 games with Joey was, you know, something I'll be able to tell my grandkids. So I remember actually it was my dad's birthday around that time, and I got one of my training singlets with Joey, signed it for me and gave it to the old man for his birthday. So, you know, just little things like that, mate. Just, you know, he's a special player, and to you know, to get another game with him would be awesome.
It's time now for Fat's Big Fat 5. You beauty. All right, boys.
I'm loving the 5, Fat.
I love it. I had something I wanted to say, but not. Now, your Blues halves combination first up. Just first up.
Yep.
Joey. Is Joey going to play, do you reckon, or not?
I don't think so.
Don't think so?
I don't think so.
Not even if he's asked?
I don't think so. I can't be sure because I haven't
ruling
spoken
out.
any day of the week.
Important game, this one, for the Knights and for the Sharks there as well. But Newcastle Knights, obviously...
Now, he'll do me every day of the week. I mean that in football terms, okay?
Any day. But the Knights
are sure?
struggling a little bit. Obviously, their defence has got to pick up. But the Sharks, I'll tell you what, boys, their tempo up the middle of the ruck is really good. They scored plenty of tries up the middle. The dummy half running, their back row, can play 80 minutes. They are looking very good. Big test for Newcastle, big one, home game.
They're playing some great footy, the Sharks, and they're going real good.
OK, let's go downstairs to Greg Alexander now, the third member of our commentary team, who will be paroling the sideline this afternoon, looking for these Newcastle Knights and Cronulla Sharks stories. And, of course, he has some changes for us right now.
Yeah, thanks, Warren. I think we're in for a good one tonight as far as team changes do go. Only one for the match. David Siege is out. Continues to have problems with that hamstring. Nathan Hinton, who made his debut against the Warriors, he'll play at fullback. The Sharks are as per program. Of course, they do welcome back Adam Dykes at 5'8", after spending 7 weeks on the sideline. Now, Warren, on form, you'd have to say the Sharks, but the Knights are desperate after 3 losses. They get Danny Badiris back. They're at home. I think we could see something special from the Knights, and they certainly need it.
Something special might come in the fact that Andrew Johns needs just 18 points to become the all-time leading scorer, of course, in first-grade rugby league in Australia. It would be quite a story if he can break that record of Jason Taylor's here tonight against the Sharks, who will kick off our triumvirate of 3 live games. It's the Knights and the Sharks, 5:30 Eastern from Fox Sports 1, of course, live here in Newcastle. Perhaps the greatest player the game has seen has the chance to become the greatest point scorer of all time tonight. Andrew Johns of the Newcastle Knights is just 18 points shy of breaking Jason Taylor's record as the all-time leading point scorer here in Australia. We'll see if he can break that against the Sharks when they kick off live at Energy Australia Stadium here in Newcastle at 5:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Okay, we'll take a break right here, though, in Newcastle and come back in a moment to preview this clash at 5:30 between the Knights and the Sharks. We are live in Newcastle at Energy Australia Stadium, where the Sharks are preparing for another big game, this time against the Newcastle Knights, the first of 2 games they'll play against the Knights in the run to the finals, and they seem destined to make the finals in 2006 once again. They've been in terrific form, of course, having won 7 of their last 8 games. They're up against a Knights side who'll be desperate to try and break this 3-game losing streak. Brett Kamali, though, in good form, and also Adam Dykes, of course, back in action for the first time since round 9, where he injured his ankle against the Dragons.
Yeah, I think it's a great combination to have for the Sharks. Certainly provides plenty of options for the Sharkies, and they were 2 of their best players over the last couple of seasons. Newcastle, on the other hand, need to get the balance right with their game, especially offensively. I think they've tried to go wide before earning the right to do that. I just don't think their forwards have aimed up and gone forward in the middle of the park. They need to run with support play. If they can create a good platform, quick play the ball, Andrew Johns going at a retreating defensive line with the skills that he's got on show, I think they've got enough firepower in their game to worry the Sharks.
Okay, as we've mentioned a couple of times already in our show, 18 points is all that stands between Andrew Johns and the all-time point-scoring record. There he is behind Jason Taylor, who has 21.07 to his record. Andrew Johns, 2,090 points, and we've seen him rack up some big hauls in his time here in Newcastle in games. He might be primed to break out of a bit of a form slump and rack up 18 tonight.
His demeanour, when I looked at him this afternoon, he looked as though he was very confident and looked as though he wanted to put in a big game here today. 17 points away from breaking this record. He's achieved everything in the game, and I think if on a roll and the Knights forwards can do a job here tonight, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he can break that record. Not only do you look at the points scored, but we don't see how much try assists he's had, how many other things that he's done in the game. He's just been a brilliant player for so long, and obviously means so much to this Newcastle side, which is obvious when he's missing because they don't win too many games.
Okay, let's hear from his coach now. Michael Hagan spoke with Greg Alexander earlier today.
Michael, recent form hasn't been great. What do you think's been the problem over the last month or so?
Yeah, not exactly sure. I guess if you knew the answers, you wouldn't be coming off the back of 3 losses. But I still think, even though we didn't win the game last week and didn't play as well as we can, I still think there's probably some areas that are on the improve. And I think the fact that Danny Badiris and Kurt Gidley, Andrew Johns are back where they belong, I still think that's when we play our best football. And Nathan Hinton, I think, will do a better job this week than he did last week. So hopefully we can turn it around, and the Sharks are going extremely well.
Yeah, just on the Sharks too, their recent form has been great. Probably one of the form teams of the competition. Their forwards going exceptionally well.
No, they've been very good. I think they get the benefit of maybe not too many players in the rep footy, and they've just been under the radar a bit and are playing quite well. But their back row in particular have been outstanding, and even their young front rowers have made a bit of name for themselves in the last couple of weeks.
All the best today, Michael. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate.
Michael Hagan there with Greg Alexander as we take a look at this Newcastle Knights lineup. Once again, David Siege out of action with an injury, and Nathan Hinton plays his second game in the top grade, of course. Kurt Gidley and Andrew Johns, the halves. If they can get some go forward from the forwards, will be out to prove a point tonight that they can get this side back on track.
Well, they've certainly got strike in the halves with Johns and Gidley, but they've got strike on the right side of the field with Matthew Gidley and Brian Carney, two of their biggest and strongest players. We've seen them so far, especially early in the season, dangerous, getting on the outside. Gidley, the in and away, and the flick pass to Brian Carney, but it's their forwards. We keep reverting back to it. Any team, when they lack go forward and they try and play with a lot of width in their football, tend to struggle. Newcastle, go back to the simple things. If they do that, I think they can win tonight's game.
Okay, let's see what happened at the toss now. Our referee this evening is Ben Cummins, and the captains are Andrew Johns and Brett Kamali.
There you go, Andrew. Here's it is. Heads. Take it out. You'll be kicking off that way. Good luck, fellas.
Joey, 3 losses. It's an important one.
Yeah, we've had a bit of slump mid-year. We started off so well, but you look at the season, we've been going now for 8 months with off-season training. It's bound to happen, so we just want to make sure we get out of it tonight, and I'm sure you'll see a different team.
Now, 18 points to become the greatest point scorer of all time. Is it something that's in the back of the mind? Because if you do get them today, you know you're well on the way to a win.
Yeah, not really, mate, because to score 18 tonight, I'll need to score a few tries, and there's not much chance of that.
All the best, Joey.
Mate.
That's all from the newsroom for now, but after the break is back to Energy Australia Stadium for the Knights and Sharks.
Well, as we know, they can be pretty passionate and pretty vocal at different times. And we saw that actually last night with some of the footy. The Sharks against the Knights. Sharks got up 26-16 at Energy Australia Stadium. But if you're a Knights fan, 4 tries were disallowed, and 2 of them, certainly to the eye.
You just saw a forward pass that was ruled, which wasn't forward pass. That's disappointing. I think it took a bit of the wind out of their sails, to be honest with you, with Newcastle. And it's disappointing, even though obviously I'm a Cronulla fan, but when you have the luxury of going to the video ref, and it's the whole thing about seeing it in slow-mo. Sometimes it distorts, how it really is.
And the angles. I mean, you can see how often it looks differently from various angles.
But to Cronulla's credit, and to Brett Kamali's credit, really, he was exceptional, and he's pushed his stakes once again for Origin.
The Knights kicked off at Energy Australia Stadium, having lost their last 3 matches, whilst the Sharks were in search of their 4th consecutive win.
Here at home in front of, as you'd expect, a big Newcastle crowd.
Both sides shared possession early, Craig Smith collaring Adam Dykes to save a try.
To the line, grabbed by the collar.
But 20 minutes in, it was the Knights who got first points, Anthony Quinn scoring out wide. Andrew Johns failed to convert, and just minutes later missed out on points again, coming just short of the line.
Johns trying to get across the line.
It seemed things were just not going the Newcastle skipper's way when this pass for a possible Brian Carney try was ruled forward.
Was forward, said the officials.
A Sharks error gave the Knights good field possession, which allowed George Carmont to create space for Quinn to get a double.
Here in the last couple of sets, Carmont! What a lovely ball for Quinn! Simmons won't get to him!
From the same spot, Johns this time added the extras, giving the Knights a 10-0 half-time lead.
Better strike. Newcastle lead the Sharks
The Sharks got off to a dream start in the second half, Greg Bird taking a miracle catch, then throwing a miracle ball for Nigel Vunganar to go over between the posts.
Out the back to Nigel Vunganar, and what a way for the Sharks to get the second half underway.
As Sharks coach Stuart Raper and Adrian Lamb watched on, Paul Gallen broke through the Knights' defence to put Brett Carney in to give the Sharks the lead.
Instead of 6, here's Gallen, another chance. Carney will score under the black dots.
But it didn't last long. Andrew Johns firing back to give Craig Smith his first try of 2006. Newcastle's celebrations were soon spoiled as Kurt Gidley was assisted off the field with an injury to his leg. With 20 minutes left in the match, the Knights' lead was cut to just 2 after Luke Cavell converted a penalty goal.
That's what he does.
The momentum seemed to be going all Cronulla's way.
Getting away from them. Come back to the kick in a moment. On the inside, Dykes is backing up.
Before Andrew Johns went to the air, the video referee ruling no try from a Reagan Tanner knock-on.
To the post. Tanner got a hand to it and knocked it forward.
Minutes later, the video referee was again in the hot seat, and once again, the Knights were denied.
About 4 or 5 weeks ago, Simmons once again missed it, and Anthony Quinn.
Third time proved unlucky for Newcastle when Todd Lowry appeared to be over. David Simmons saving the day for the Sharks. With just under 10 minutes remaining, Kamali sent a long ball out to Luke Cavell, who combined with Beau Scott to take the Sharks back into the lead.
Scott for the corner, he got across.
Cavell's conversion took the Sharks 4 clear, and when Nigel Vunganar crossed from dummy half, the Sharks' win was sealed.
Vunganar from dummy half.
Cronulla fans were left literally falling over themselves as the Sharks recorded a 26 points to 16 victory.
Yeah, very strong win there to the Sharks. A couple of players we didn't mention when we were talking about Cronulla before. Brett Carney's playing outstanding football. He was the 5'8", now back off the bench with Adam Dykes back on the side. And also Luke Cavell just continues to go from strength to strength. And for the Knights, Craig Smith, the evergreen, just keeps on going. He was outstanding again last night.
Yeah, so too Anthony Quinn and Brian Carney. It was a look. I don't want to take anything away from the Sharks' victory. It was a great game to watch. A really competitive game. The Newcastle first half was as good as I've seen in so many months. But to lead 10-0 and then throw that all away in the first 4 minutes of the second half really hurt them. But some tough decisions did go against
Yeah, we want to have a
Newcastle.
look at these 3 incidents. I certainly believe that they got one wrong, that's for sure.
Well, even this one, there's it's not clear-cut, but I still think Brett Kamali knocks on. Actually puts it into Reagan Tanner, and that was a tough decision. But I'll cop that one.
Yeah, cop that one.
But the one with Anthony Quinn, and I reckon the referee, and I know that the Roasters are going to have a look at this a little bit later on. This one here.
All we've got to do is put downward pressure on the ball.
They had a look at, I'd say, 12 times at this, or close to that, double figures. And if that's not benefit of the doubt, I'm not here. At the end of this game, I said, well, I won't see benefit of the doubt all season. Lo and behold, the next game, the St George Illawarra Dragons.
Now, at that stage, Pete, it was 16-14.
That's right.
They score, convert, it's 22-14, the game's over. So it was disappointing if you're a Newcastle fan.
Got this right.
Yep,
Todd Lowry
sweet.
doesn't score here, that's fine. But, you can't see a benefit of the doubt. If you can't look at something 12 times and that doesn't say, well, that's benefit of the doubt to the attacking team, I'm not here.
In my eyes, the worst decision was in the first half when there was a no
Forward
try
pass.
to Carney, which was ruled a forward pass, I think, from Johns. That wasn't a forward pass.
No.
But what annoyed me during the game was Danny Medeiros would have thrown at least half a dozen forward passes from dummy half, which weren't picked up at all.
Well, Brett Kamali threw one that was it sort of hurts you when you look at one that's ruled that you know isn't, and then you see others that aren't pulled up.
Now, Kurt Gidley, not good news for Newcastle. The loss to the Sharks last night, compounded by the fact that Kurt Gidley will be out for 4 to 6 weeks with medial ligament damage. He'll be in the ice bath all day today. We'll get the scans done tomorrow.
Well, let's stick with you for the halves for New South Wales, because that's where it's going to be. Are they going to make changes 6 and 7 or not?
I think they'll make changes. I'd go with Johns and Astor. That's where I'd go. Yeah.
Hang on.
Well, give us a scoop.
Andrew Johns.
Come on.
That's who you'd go with, or are you telling us there's been something happen there?
Well, I think that if they came forward and asked Andrew, I honestly think that he'd play. I think he'd put his hand up.
You know why, Matty?
I watched him play
100%? He'd play?
I'd say getting close too. Look, the big thing with Andrew, I saw him play last night. I thought he played very, very well.
1,000%. He couldn't get down here quick enough, they went nuts. I can't believe they haven't done it.
Will they ask him?
I don't know. Look, Queensland have obviously lobbied not to have it happen. They don't want him to play. But I got no doubt that if they asked Andrew Johns to play, he would love to play. I think he needs it. I think the game needs it. And I think it's a great way to go. And I think that what he and Anasta did to Queensland in Game 3 last year, it's the obvious way for me to go.
So if Johns plays, Anasta keeps his spot.
The thing about having Andrew Johns as halfback, you don't need a 5'8". You don't need. All you need is a running. You need a running. You don't need. Andrew Johns sets up everything on the field. And last time he retired from Origin was about Andrew Johns and his farewell. This time would be about the game. Yep. I think if he went to Melbourne, we'd have such more interest in this game.
We're taking the game to Melbourne to a sellout crowd. You want to sell it down there. Why not take the game's best ever player as part of the draw card? I can't understand why they haven't done it. Johns and Anasta won Game 3 comfortably for us last year. If they don't go down that road.
Rival Blues halfback contender Brett Kamali played a leading hand in the Sharks' comeback win against the Knights.
I think the New South Wales selectors got rocks in the head if they don't pick Noddy for State of Origin.
There was no denying Greg Bird's sleight of hand.
A spectacular piece of play, a no-look pass.
But the Knights crossed the line 4 times, only to be denied points by the video referee.
I think the better team lost, put it that way.
And that incredible story about Andrew Johns playing cricket for New South Wales. Andrew Johns has decided to try a new sport, but rugby league fans can relax. He's not defecting to rugby union. Joey has accepted an invitation to play 2020 cricket for New South Wales.
He's won plenty for the Blues in rugby league, but Andrew Johns knows he's not going to win the Blues any games of cricket.
That's the handle, by the way.
Well, I can't bowl real well, I can't bat and can't field.
The cricket tragic, playing 2 2020 games for New South Wales and a third if the Blues host the final at Telstra Stadium. First up in Newcastle next January, Johns to pad up against the fearsome South Australian pace attack.
Faced a guy from Dora Creek who was pretty quick, but I think Sean Tate and Jason Gillespie a little bit faster, so hopefully they won't pitch him short or bowl underarm or something. But
Former Test captain Mark Taylor pushing for the recruitment of Johns at a recent New South Wales board meeting. The league legend tipped to double the crowds.
Especially if he gets 100 in Newcastle, we can guarantee a big crowd at Telstra.
Like his front foot defence, Johns less than convincing when confirming his State of Origin retirement should the Blues be hit by a late injury.
I've made a decision to stand down and, can't play anymore.
Despite repeated calls for New South Wales to pick Johns for a State of Origin swan song, the man himself admits his form in recent weeks has been below par. Johns hinting Father Time is catching up.
I reckon I'm down, about 5 or 10% from where I am at my peak, but I can't do the things I did 4 or 5 years ago. I've got to sort of keep in perspective.
Adam Hawes, 10 News.
There was a big sporting announcement today that Andrew Johns will be playing for New South Wales again, but not in State of Origin. Instead, he'll play cricket for the Blues in 2 2020 matches in January.
If he had his way, Andrew Johns would be wearing a Blue Origin jersey next Wednesday. Instead, this is his new summer attire. Bradman, like in league, he isn't boasting about his cricket ability.
How good is that? Well, I can't bat real well. I can't bowl. I can't field that well too, so I don't really know what I'm going to offer the side.
So Joe, the cameraman, won't have much to say about you.
You'll have plenty to say, Joe. Yes, I haven't thought about that.
John's manager planted the idea several weeks ago. It was approved by the Blues with no concerns that it'll cost a young cricketer an opportunity.
When the guys all found out, apparently the feedback was really positive and everyone's really looking forward to having Joey involved.
Michael Slater has no problem with Johns, but has a major issue with the concept.
For him to be putting on the New South Wales gear and playing, it's farcical.
Slater says he hopes Johns doesn't take the field.
It's no more than a marketing stunt that is chipping away at what cricket stands for.
There was wild speculation in the Newcastle area about what Johns was going to announce today. Many were fearing he was going to quit rugby league. Instead, he told 9 News that he's batting on.
No, I'll play next year for sure, and then come the middle of the year, I'll wait up then.
Danny Weidler, National 9 News.
Newcastle officials hoping Blues back rower Steve Simpson will scribble his signature on a new Knights contract.
Of course, I'd like to stay in Newcastle. It's a great place, and it's the team are very passionate about playing for, so hopefully in the next week or so we can sort something out there.
A promotion in Melbourne proving rugby league remains a minor sport in Victoria, despite the Telstra Dome decider being a 55,000-seat sellout. For the locals, there's only one bunch of Blues.
I thought they were Carlton players, no?
And do you know who these people are?
No.
Angry Cricket Australia officials have slammed Andrew Johns' selection in the New South Wales 2020 team. Johns made shock headlines when he was selected to face some of Australia's fastest bowlers as part of the Blues lineup. Cricket Australia says a young player will miss out because of it.
I think it's a gimmick. I think it also demeans what we're talking about here, which is genuine sport, genuine competition between states.
Despite his stance, Sutherland says Cricket Australia won't change the selection rules to prevent that happening again.
We'll have more AFL a little later here on Main Game, but right now it's time for the great debate. And there's a lot of hue and cry today over the selection of Rugby League star Andrew Johns to play 2020 cricket for New South Wales this summer. Should they have chosen Joey or not? Here's Gibbo and Ray.
Are we being serious here? I mean, why wouldn't you choose Andrew Johns to play 2020 cricket? I mean, why wouldn't you choose Bert Newton or Ronald McDonald or Humphrey B. Bear? This isn't a game. This isn't sport. This is smash and grab. This is silly stuff. And why wouldn't you get a celebrity sports star to pump up the fans? My suggestion, Reagan to open the batting, Kerry Ann Kennelly to open the bowling, and Bob Hawke to carry the drinks.
If I had to pick one person in the entire world to play rugby league to save my life, it'd be Andrew Johns. If I had to pick one person in the entire world to save my life playing cricket, it wouldn't be Andrew Johns. He wouldn't be in the top 1,000. So why have the selectors demeaned the New South Wales jumper by picking him in this 2020 side? That's what you're talking about. You're talking about devaluing the New South Wales jumper on a fad, on a whim. This is burlesque. It's a parody to have rugby league players playing this game.
Ray, you all right tonight? Have you been hit on the head by a Brett Lee bouncer or something?
Never.
I mean, you're about to suggest there's almost some sort of sanctity in the blue cap. There's some sort of sanctity in the game of 2020 cricket. I mean, this is a game for sports fans with ADHD. This is a game for guys who have the concentration span of a gnat. There's as much chance of Andrew Johns being seriously injured in a game of 2020 as there is of you wearing a decent tie on a Thursday night. This game it's like touch football. I mean, 2020 is popcorn. That's what it is.
Mate, there's a dignity about playing for New South Wales that's at stake here. They have trivialised the New South Wales cap. It used to mean something. You play for your state. Now we've got everybody lining up. Why stop at Andrew Johns? Why not Ugly Dave Gray? Why not Jeannie Little? Why not Kamal? How was that, umpire? I mean, you can't go on like that. It's ridiculous. It was a farce anyway, 2020. It was dreamed up by blokes on the drink, and now it's become a parody. It's become just a lampoon of genuine sport.
You finished?
Yes. I'm outraged. I am outraged.
Glenn McGrath, fullback for New South Wales next Wednesday night.
You'll be there, I bet, at the 2020.
All right, now, Reggie Reagan, of course, as we know, over the last few years, Reggie has been assistant coach, he's been the trainer.
Nutritionalist.
He's been drinks coordinator, physio. This year, he is the team photographer.
I'll let you know I've worn many hats for the New South Wales State of Origin team. Coach, assistant coach, psychologist, conditioner, fitness guru, and now official team photographer. And I brought along the new camera I got from Customs in Germany, and let's go and see what the boys have had for breakfast. Come on, Willie, open those legs and say, look what you had for breakfast, son. Hey, I'll tell you what, he's no vegetarian, is he? Hey, Albert, what price a smile, son? There we go.
Okay, a couple more to go, fellas. I'm just going to fire a couple off. And again, fellas, looking towards the front. Last one.
About time for the footy got played here. Guys, if everyone just rotates, everyone face over. Nice. You need it. Hey? Love you, mate. You old fella. Get this up, you wine. Give me one of those moody shots. Come on, Gowie, give us a smile. Think of Amanda. I am. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Now stay there. Stay there. You want more? There we go. I'm only joking. Come on, son. Well done. Come on, just a quick look.
You too, huh?
No, serious. That's all right.
Is that enough?
There it is. Here's the flavour. Unleash that crack. on Telstra Dome. Give them something to look at.
Right, I'll do that for you, mate.
Love you, man. Fucking bludger everything. Hey, what did the news know about Melbourne?
Shitty weather.
Yeah.
Good sorts there.
Oh, are they? A lot of blokes. G'day, mate. Smile and say the first thing that comes into your mind. Sex. Oh, sausages. Well, there we go, people. I've done it again. Best photographer this team's ever had by a country mile. Should be Coach. It's another story. Anyway, I'm out here in the middle of Telstra Dome and I can't wait till next Wednesday night. I'm horny for it. I'm Reagan. Go and get stuffed.
There is nothing that Reg can't do, is it?
Absolutely nothing he can't do. And yeah, he's actually, I can reveal now, due to that photography, he's had an offer from Playboy magazine.
Yes.
But he's turned it down.
I know you're good mates with Reg,
Yes.
and you mentioned, well, he did mention about coaching. He's had a bit of success in the past, hasn't he, Reg, in the coaching
My
caper?
word, he has. I mean, look, there's no secret that, Willie was a part of the camp when Ricky Stuart was coming. Reg was the man behind the scenes with Ricky Stuart was the
even
coach.
that recently?
Yeah, absolutely. And, he was there for game 1 and left for Munich. What happens? The boys get hammered in game 2.
There it is.
He leaves Munich, Socceroos get beat. There you go, unbelievable.
But this next one, I tell you, you're going to see. You got him in the head, that's right. Good work, mate. You got to try. That's great. But this one hurts. Oh, James Stuart. That's going to hurt come winner. Reagan, Tanner. Yeah, that's tough. And that's Gould. Cop it. That really hurt him.
The last one, Andrew Johns playing state cricket in 2020. Good or bad?
I think potentially it's good. It's good.
I'm not a fan. I don't really understand it, to be quite... I know that it's a promotion. It'll put bums on seats, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think 2020 it's a vehicle to promote cricket. I think if they're going to get Joey there and all of a sudden drag 30,000 through, I think it's a good thing. And I think it'll be a very good thing if Dizzy Gillespie bends his back and starts bouncing him. That'll be absolutely brilliant.
Well, the good thing is that Sean Tate has already come out and said, look, there's a final berth up here. I'm not taking it easy on anyone. I hope that he's coming in and
let's continue this conversation now, because that's right. They've got great fast bowlers, South Australia. Sean Tate's one of them. He can bowl at about 300 k's an hour. Now, if I was Andrew Johns, I mean, I don't know how I'd feel about facing blokes like that.
Well, boy, let's get in perspective, though. It's good. It's a good promotion for Joey. It's also good for rugby league. I noticed it was in the Melbourne paper today about it, so it's spreading rugby league. But at the end of the day, 2020, the back end of the batsmen rarely get a bat, so there's a chance he won't bat and won't face that. He won't get a bowl.
Well, what's he playing for?
Well, he's involved with it. He's enjoying it. He'll be feeling he might get a bowl. He may not. But as far as the nights or injuries, I've read a little bit how people are saying, he's going to get injured. The ball's going to hit him in the head. I don't think it's going to happen.
Matty, what about
potentially good promotion?
What about his preparation? You know better than most. Like 5th grade for Merriweather.
Yeah.
First class cricket for New South Wales.
Yeah, it's a
5th grade Merriweather.
Just a slight jump.
There's a fair jump there, but I spoke to Joey today and I said, mate, apparently the radio airwaves in Sydney it was just going crazy. I said, can you believe this? He said, mate, I put my hand up. He said, it's a bit of promotion, a bit of fun. He said, it's just got out of control.
Mate, if I was him, I'd look like the Michelin Man.
Yeah.
I would have
fear
that much
for him
protection on every
because
bit of my body.
We have actually, Daredevil Dudes a couple of years ago, Pete and I, we have faced fast bowlers. We faced Nathan Bracken as Australian bowler, Matt Nicholson, Doug Bollinger, New South Wales players, and we handled them pretty well, Pete.
Yeah, well, that's Matty Johns, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Matt. We can get out of there quick enough.
He just kept throwing himself in front of the ball.
Yeah.
That one hit me right in the heart.
Yeah. That's the fat. Yeah, no worries. I'm telling you, he's putting his life into his own hands.
Mate, Joey is one of them blokes you hate. He's good at everything. He'll get out there and he'll do all right.
That ball ended up in Wollongong. We're at the SCG. That ball landed in Wollongong. I'm telling you. No wonder I've got a crook head.
Stuff.
We might be asking, imagine if he goes out there and scores 50. I mean, honestly, he's been kicked up the arse by a rainbow that many times.
Yeah.
It just might happen. You don't know.
All right, boys. Now, what else? It's time for the Jim Beam trivia, I think.
It is indeed. and it's a topical one this week, as it always is, because tomorrow night we've got Friday night football coming out of Brookvale Oval. The Knights up against Manly. So our question is, who was the Knights hooker the last time they won at Brookvale Oval? Was it A, Lee Jackson, B, Robbie McCormack, C, Steve Wallace, or D, Danny Badiris? If you want to have a pick or think you know, there are the numbers to get in touch with. Call 1902 552 406 or text 19952 406. Now, this, being a Novocastrian question, is right up your alley.
We beat Manly by 50 points that day, and it was, I'm pretty sure it was A, Lee Jackson, the Englishman from Hull.
Back in about 1998, so it was
1998.
just after grand final. It wouldn't be Danny Badiris. Lee Jackson was still around there the following year?
Yes.
I reckon Robbie McCormack.
No, it was a bit later. I never played in that game. It could even be Boxhead Walters, to tell you the truth.
Okay. All right, well, we've given you a good head start. Get involved in our Jim Beam competition. Big chance of winning this.
All right, now.
Each week, one viewer who calls or texts with the correct answer to the Jim Beam footy trivia will be selected at random to win this great Jim Beam treat.
All right. Prize that, so get involved.
Now, Friday night footy this week, Pete. It's Manly and Newcastle.
Yeah, and I've got to say that things are a little bit tight for these two clubs. Newcastle have now lost 4 in a row. Manly have lost 2 in a row. Yep. Both on 18 competition points, just sitting at the bottom of the top 8. So looking forward to a really good battle up there. And as we just pointed out, Newcastle Chief does not have a good record at Brookvale Oval. Can they turn it around?
Look, I think so. Last week is their best game for I think the last month, without a doubt. They had plenty of intensity, numbers in tackles. They played really well. We all know about the 4 tries, whether they're disallowed or not, but I think they got a lot of confidence out of that one. Obviously, we're going to be missing a couple of players out of this, but it really is do or die for Newcastle. Brookvale's going to be tough, but I've tipped us. I think we can do it.
I mean, we're all fans of Andrew, and I would have to say he's probably not playing the best he can.
I thought he was very good last week. Yeah. I thought he bounced back. I honestly believe it's a bit of a hangover from giving away the rep football. Okay. I think he sort of needs a new challenge. I think as we get closer to the finals, he'll really start to warm up. But confidence-wise, the Knights it's a fleeting butterfly that just drifts away occasionally. Confidence, and it really is. It's
Danny Badiris, of course, and coincidentally, both the 5'8" had Travis Burns and
Travis Burns out suspended.
Both
Manly nearly full strength, apart from Travis, and of course Steve Menzies, who was out. I think Manly will win this one.
It's going to be a blockbuster.
It'll be good. Crichton's a bonus. He's back in the side. Didn't get a start in Origin, and he's back in the front row for the Manly side. I think they'll win.
So that's our Friday night football game. You'll see that from 8:30 p.m. So check it out.
Rugby League and Manly and Newcastle kick off round 17 tonight, looking to recapture their best form. League reporter Adam Horse is at Brookie Oval, but Adam, one of the Knights players could be set to dash away.
Yes, Tim, Matt Gidley, he could be a late scratching from the Newcastle side. His wife, Larissa, is due to give birth tonight to their second child. And basically, if she goes into labour any time before kick-off, he's out of here. He's up the F3 to be by her side. So I know the Knights, they're desperately hoping Larissa can hold on because they'll need all their top players on deck tonight if they're to end a 4-match losing streak. With his team sliding down the NRL table, Andrew Johns outlining a simple game plan for his Knights.
Yeah, look, we've got to win this week. Manly down there, Ben Kennedy will be firing them up. He'll be in for a big game. There's some great signs last week. I really thought we probably should have won last week.
Newcastle's Matt Gidley's got a lot more than contracts on his mind. He left late for Brookvale today. His wife Larissa is expecting the couple's second child.
I've got a list of phone numbers there with my wife and my brother Kurt's not playing, so he'll have his phone ready. So, if I get dashing off the field at some stage, everyone will know why.
Welcome back to Nine's Friday Night Football, a night when Newcastle has defeated Manly by 26 points to 12. A little bit of slipping, a little bit of sliding out on Brookvale Oval tonight, but a vital win to Newcastle, snapping a 4-game losing streak. They're up to 20 competition points, and plenty of sport for you at home to keep on watching tonight. We've got the full post-match show, and then straight to Wimbledon to link up with all the action over there. And you're going to see now Bundy run big plays shortly. Anthony Quinn featured very heavily in some of the play from the second half. He's down here right now getting a rub down after the match. Anthony, it's a real nice win for the club. The way that you won tonight, all 3 grades, it's a great day for the club.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've won all 3 grades down here in Manly. I know last year we didn't get the 2 points, but this year was good, and it's good to get a win after a couple of losses.
All right, as we say, we're in the dressing rooms. We're getting a rub down of sorts. Let's have a look at one of your tackles from the second half where you ran down Chris Hicks. This ended up a pretty big play in the context of the second half.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get him at the first, but he had a little stumble and I was able to just wrap the arms around him and take him down.
It was a good one, and then you followed up with one right in the corner on Chris Hicks as well. Anthony, I'll let you continue with the rub down. You've done a great game tonight. You're off to the Melbourne Storm next year. Right now, Matthew Johns is standing by with our Bundy Rum Man of the Match.
Yeah, cheers, Vossi. The $1,000 Bundy Rum Man of the Match goes to Andrew Johns. Joey, congratulations, mate. That was an important win tonight.
Yeah, mate, it was a grinding win, and we're unfortunate last week. Our luck didn't go its way, but...
Holy dooly. Is that Brian Carney there?
Keep going. That's all right. I didn't think Irishman showered. No. That's a first. No, it's a grinding win. We were close last week, but, it's a must-win tonight, and really proud of the efforts, especially our young guys. Nathan Hinton, the fullback, at a howler.
Mate, 4 points. You break the all-time record. Now you play Parramatta next week. Jason Taylor, only 4 points, mate. 4 points, you break the record. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it'll be nice to do it at home. So that'll be 2 goals. I don't score tries these days, so it'll be nice to do it at home, but the win will be more important.
Well, mate, congratulations. $1,000 coming your way. Keep it in the family, huh?
Yeah, I will, mate.
Over to you, Bossy.
Yeah, thanks, Matty. The other news for Newcastle, the last 9 rounds, at the moment, they play 5 teams who are currently outside of the top 8. They also have the bye in round 26, so there's certainly some good signs for Newcastle. The bad news tonight, a dislocated elbow to their hooker, Luke Quigley.
Yeah, OK, and now let's have a listen to what Michael Hagan had to say after the game. The Newcastle coach couldn't have been happier, especially with his team's defence.
We know that we've got a lot of attacking ability in the team, but to keep them to 12, defensive area has been something that we've worked pretty hard on to try and pull that into gear, and we know in the run home that's going to be extremely important if we want to be thereabouts. So I thought the defensive effort, not only from Anthony Quinn but across the board was extremely positive and very tough.
Yeah, maybe they've gone through their flat period of the season, the Newcastle Knights, and they might be just now building perhaps towards a run to the finals and maybe still a shot at the top 4.
Yeah, well, it's always difficult to keep your momentum up for the full 26 weeks. They've had a flat period through the middle. They've had the bye. They've played particularly well over the last 3 weeks, but they've only come away with 1 victory. Their next 4 months, I think, can set the Knights up perfectly well. They've got South Sydney, they've got Parramatta, 2 games which you would expect them to win. Then all of a sudden they take on a couple of heavyweights, so we'll know a lot more about the Knights. They take on the Storm and the Sharks. So if they can win 3 out of those 4, it'll set themselves up nicely for an end-of-season charge.
OK, now as we said, Andrew Johns closing in on that all-time point-scoring record, and the good news is that you may well see him break it next Saturday night on Super Saturday when it's the Knights taking on the Eels. Will it be Joey's date with destiny? That's next Saturday night, 7:30pm Eastern. Fox Sports 1 the venue. Live, we'll see if Andrew Johns can become the all-time leading point scorer, and of course the man he will be playing against as far as the coach is concerned, Jason Taylor, the Parramatta coach, is the man who holds the record at the moment.
It'd be a nice touch, wouldn't it, for Jason to be there and see it happen and hand over not hand over a trophy, but to shake his hand and congratulate him. I mean, there's been some terrific players, and this is something that Andrew Johns, I'm sure, would be thinking a lot about this weekend. He probably will play it down in the papers, but I think it's a terrific record. The game's nearly 100 years old, and to have that record coming up to our centenary year is a fantastic achievement.
OK, that's next Saturday night.
We start with NRL, and Manly coach Des Hasler has called for his team to get its act together following last night's loss to Newcastle. Andrew Johns led the Knights to a 26-12 victory. Hasler not happy with his team's mental application.
3 straight losses isn't the only concern for Des Hasler. After going down to Newcastle, he thinks the Seagulls are losing the mental game as well.
We just lose concentration at various parts of the game. Just before, today it was just before half time and then straight after, a bit of discipline. Thought we had opportunities there where we could have mounted some pressure and we just didn't. So we have to get our act together.
Manly captain Ben Kennedy also called for his team to switch on for the full 80 minutes.
I said last week, I'm sick of looking at outside things and start worrying about what we're freaking doing.
The Knights were without State of Origin players Danny Badderas and Steve Simpson, but they still managed to snap a 4-game losing streak with an impressive 26-12 win.
Oh, that's lovely stuff.
Newcastle crossed for a crucial try just before the break, then added 2 more in the opening 9 minutes of the second half. Andrew Johns, man of the match, thanks to passes like this.
Johns long to come on, he'll score. Come on, strolls over.
This is how a modest Johns rated his 5-star performance.
Oh, mate, not too bad. As long as the team wins, I'm happy. So it's not about me, it's about the team.
Try-scoring machine Brett Stuart provided one of the rare Manly highlights with his 27th try in as many matches at Brookvale Oval.
Stuart, will he get a bounce? Yes, he'll get the bounce. He scores another magnificent try.
Luke Quigley's dislocated elbow, the only sore point for Newcastle. He'll be out for 2 to 4 weeks.
Now, we've had some inquiries because a lot of people didn't see the Man of the Match award. One thing we're very thankful for is the clubs and the players allowing us access to dressing rooms straight away. It didn't happen 10 or 15, it was always, no, you can come in after 20 minutes. But now we're allowed in straight away, and we've had a great response to things like the team song. On Friday night, a little bit of Brian Carney. He's a very, very popular player, Brian Carney, and he pokes his head up during the Man of the Match interview, which, for those people who haven't seen it, here's the Irishman at work.
Joey, congratulations, mate. That was an important win tonight.
Yeah, mate, it was a grinding win, and we're unfortunate last week. Our luck didn't go its way, but...
Holy dooly. Is that Brian Carney there?
Keep going.
That's all right. I didn't think Irishman showered. No. That's the first.
Yeah, great sense of humour there, Brian Carney. He looked horrendous, didn't he? Soaping up.
I've never seen the Abominable Snowman, but I think it looks something like that.
Yeah. But isn't it great to be able to see that kind of stuff immediately after a game, and the access to the sheds, and that is something that just adds to the coverage and adds to, I think, our fans' enjoyment.
Yeah. All right, well, Matthew Johns did the interviews for us, this time in the winning dressing room, the Knights.
You reckon that's your best game in first grade?
Yeah, probably, mate. Good defensive effort, I thought. Our edge was pretty strong, so, yeah, pretty pleased with it.
Mate, the 7 finally pulled the finger out tonight and had a go.
Yeah, mate, he doesn't usually have a go, so it was good. I have to back him up all the time, so yeah, no, it was good for him to pull his finger out.
Well, Quinny, what about some of those try-saving efforts? Second half, outstanding.
Yeah, I know. They got through, and I was just there to stop them, so that's what I have to do.
Modesty, unbelievable. See, they just got through, and I just had to stop them. Mate, you're dead set, unbelievable. Why don't you give yourself a rap for a change?
No, mate, that's not me.
What about the Irishman outside you? Brian Carney got a fair combination happening there now.
Yeah, he's good, mate. I mean, he's a world-class player, Brian, and he brings so much to our team work-wise, and he's a great finisher, and I hear he's not a bad dancer as well.
Really? That's amazing. Now, listen, Brian, you're a soccer buff. You love the Football World Cup, mate. What's your tip? I mean, we're out at the moment, the Australians. Who do you tip? Who do you think will win it?
Mate, I think Argentina will win it, but Ukraine's the dark horse.
Yeah, you tipped Ukraine early.
I'm sticking with them. They lost 4-0 the first game, but they've come back a bit. They'll be hopefully hard to beat.
Yeah, mate, there's something just about to drop off the Indian nose. I'll just catch it there for you. There we go.
Have you got a good feel about this one?
Yeah, it's all about a feel. You do get a feel, definitely when you come into camp, how the boys are feeling and stuff. So we're going okay. We don't want to play the game tomorrow, which is, we're going to build up. And in saying that, the training's been pretty intense.
At the Knights, we saw that injury to Luke Quigley, a dislocated elbow, a really painful injury, this one, about a month. I spoke to Steve Crow this morning. That is Luke Quigley.
So, Matty, we read in the paper today, revealed in the Sun Herald, that Adam MacDougall, one of those players off contract, may be back to Newcastle. What do you think about that?
I think it'd be an excellent signing, boys. Yeah, I think that Newcastle got some very good young players coming through, but I'm not sure if they're ready for the week-to-week grind of first-grade football. You bring Adam MacDougall back, sign him to a 2-year contract. Look, he probably realises at the moment they can't offer top dollars because of salary cap restraints. However, sign him, get him there. Be a good move. The other thing about MacDougall, he's an excellent fullback as well. There's the option to put him to fullback, possibly Thailand to centres.
Are the rumours true about MacDougall? We all hear it. It's more second-hand news, but does he train with the team on a week-to-week basis? We hear that he doesn't train till Thursdays.
Well, sometimes, I'll be honest, I've played with Dukes at times, and he has his own strange methods. during the week before games. But one thing about Adam MacDougall, he always aims up. Sometimes he won't train with the team, and you'll find out later on that he's been running sandhills, because that's what he thinks, which is not conducive to a team atmosphere. However, he's always tip-top and ready to go.
We will take a break on the Sunday roast. After the break, it is the mixed grill, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this bloke's brother, Andrew John's going to play cricket. Just wondering if there's anyone in rugby league at the moment that we could enter into that competition. I can't think of one.
George Rose.
Oh, well, hang on a second, mate.
Yes, outstanding. Gus?
Stitch up. Well, I know nothing. Oh, it's a stitch up. Right.
Now, this next bit of vision of someone picking up a hitchhiker. And anyone else?
Now, Andrew Johns during the week, it is announced, is going to play 2020 cricket for the Wizard Blues, the New South Wales Blues. They're not the Wizard Blues in cricket, but they may as well be. And here they are. Simon Kadich giving him the shirt to say that he's going to play. Let's have a listen to what Andrew had to say about his cricketing ability.
I can't bat real well. I can't bowl. I can't feel that well too, so I don't really know what I'm going to offer the side.
So Joe, the cameraman, won't have much to say about you.
You'll have plenty to say, Joe. Yes, I haven't thought about that.
How good is that?
Oh, look at that.
Yes, now we've actually got vision of Gus playing cricket. No, we haven't. Gus, can you contribute something to this segment? In the fair dinkum department, is that fair cop that he's going to play in what is meant to be a serious game? Please, something.
I really don't care. I don't care. I've got no opinion either way. I mean, good luck if he's going to play. Good luck if he doesn't. I've got no opinion on that, Andrew.
It's unbelievable. I must say it. I spoke to Joey about it. He's absolutely shocked. I mean, 2020 is a vehicle for a bit of fun, getting the spectators through. But some of the cricketers like Slats and that coming out and going, how dare they? You know, 1 minute they're saying it's a circus, it's a bit of fun, then someone has a game, and all of a sudden it's the most serious thing in the world. Please, boys, it's sport, it's not religion, politics.
Yeah, I agree, 300%.
Yeah. If you want to get blokes through the gate, get Megan Gale to play, or Lara Bingle, something like that.
Oh, yeah, the it girl at the moment, Lara.
We'll take a break on the Sunday roast. Plenty more coming up after the break. You're on Channel 9.
Plenty of cricket followers consider the game of 2020 to be a bit of hit and giggle. But has New South Wales cricket taken it too far, selecting rugby league great Andrew Johns to play 2 2020 games next season? Cricket New South Wales has admitted John's selection was purely a publicity stunt, but former Test batsman Michael Slater went on the attack, accusing Cricket New South Wales of selling the game short. I mean, what game? That is not a game, that is a joke.
Bubble gum.
It's a circus, it's a sideshow. I think New South Wales have got it exactly right.
Yeah.
They've just said, it is a circus and a sideshow, so we'll make it one.
Yeah, and I mean, once you've gone Andrew Johns, who should be the next person? Who would, attract?
Well, Amanda Vanstone.
Yeah, there you go. That would attract a lot of attention.
Is it wrecking any possibility of the 2020 game becoming somewhat a little more serious over the years?
I don't think a game. I think the way the game's structured, the batting side that bats first got a tremendous advantage. And until they juggle the rules around and get that right, I just treat it like a circus.
It's a strange
That's for sports fans with ADHD. I mean, what is it? Jennifer Coughlin, she writes, Andrew Johns playing cricket? What a great message this sends to struggling would-be players. Is he now bigger than this game too? Give us a break.
The only defence of it, Mr. Chairman, is that he, as he goes into the tent, it's all very well for certain cricketers to say, hang on, you've got no right to be in that tent. He can say, you see those 10,000 people over there that are following me in? They're all paying customers. They're coming into the tent.
And I think the match he's playing is being played in Newcastle.
Right.
So it's his hometown.
And you wouldn't be surprised. As somebody who's bagged Andrew Johns for years and it always ends up with egg on my face, I've said about coming to rugby union. I said, he's too old, too slow, can't do it. Every time he wins by 50 points. I wouldn't like to say that he won't hit 10 sixes in 2 overs and win the game.
You've learned some lessons from the Greg Norman thing.
You've had a bad year or two, haven't you?
I have.
You bag Andrew Johns, you bag soccer.
Does he have Greg Norman in front of you?
Does he have any cricket ability at all?
He plays 5th grade in Newcastle and is classed as an ordinary 5th grader.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
People, including myself, are loath to compare footballers from different areas. It's not really fair. I simply have never seen a better footballer than Andrew Johns, certainly in my life. And if people like Ricky Stuart and Craig Bellamy, 2 of the elite coaches who have conquered all so far in the game, rate Johns the best player they've ever seen, then that's good enough for me. I can't see how anybody can be better than the bloke.
Andrew Johns is shooting for 2,100 points. Neil Fox in England scored 6,220 during his career. That doesn't make him the best player ever.
How many people talk about Neil Fox around the dinner table every night, mate?
And Andrew Johns, they certainly do in Bradford. Andrew Johns is the best player I've ever seen, but I don't think scoring points is...
You've just ended the argument. Stop the debate. This isn't an argument anymore. You've just ended it. He's the best player you've ever seen.
Does the fact he's going to break the record this weekend make him the best player ever? And the answer to that is no. Andrew Johns is the best player I've ever seen, but I didn't see Dally Messenger play. I didn't see Roger Millwood play. I didn't see Clive Churchill play. He's the best player I've seen.
We've covered that. Look, there's no doubt. I agree.
Breaking records does not prove anything.
That was it. Now time for the trivia, Pete.
Yes, that was very trivial. I have to say, our Jim Boom trivia competition. Now, big night this Saturday night for Andrew Johns. 4 points.
Yeah.
All he needs to become our greatest ever point scorer, and he will achieve that against the Eels, a side coached by Jason Taylor, who is the current leader. So, our question is lined that way. Against which club has Andrew Johns scored the most points? Is it A, Bulldogs, B, Raiders, C, Sharks, D, Warriors? If you think you know or want to have a guess, call that number 1902 552 406 or text 199 52406. What do we think, guys?
Well, one day against the Raiders, he scored 34 points, but we had a bit of a barren spot against the Raiders. They haven't won a lot of games.
I reckon the Warriors. I reckon
I think they've got a good record again. I'm going to say the Sharks.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Bulldogs, boys. I'll go A. I'm
going to go the Raiders.
Okay.
One of each.
So, we've been no help whatsoever.
Talking of Andrew, of course, he's only 4 points away. And
mate, what about what people win? Can we see?
Can you
this is what you could win.
Each week, one viewer who calls or texts with the correct answer to the Jim Beam Footy Trivia will be selected at random to win this great Jim Beam quiz.
And that's a great prize. Let me tell you, it's fantastic. Jim Beam prize. And now, as I was saying, Andrew Johns, he just needs 4 points in the weekend. They go to Parramatta on Saturday night. This is where he sits. Of course, he's gone past some magnificent players. Graham Eady, Mick Cronin, Daryl Halligan. We never thought we'd see better goal kickers than them. And then Jason Taylor came along, and Andrew Johns is a magnificent goal kicker and point scorer. And will it be 2 goals? Will it be a try? What do you reckon?
I think I've got a feeling it might be a try.
Might get a try.
I think he'll get close to the line, a big step off the right foot and might go. But look, it's very proud, the whole family. It's something that when he got into football, he'd never imagined or never really, it was never a goal. It was so big. But
as
on
a
debut...
kid, was he a brilliant goal kicker? He was
a very good goal kicker, very good player. I mean, on debut... 23 points against South to set the tone, didn't it?
Isn't it a coincidence that it happens to come up against the side coached by Jason Taylor, who was very durable, stacked a lot of points over a long career. It's a nice touch.
The other thing too is everyone else on that list are great players, but probably more recognised as goal kickers. I don't think Joey's a goal kicker. I just recognise him as a great player. It's a bonus that he scored so many points. It just adds.
What he was like as a kid, it was so frustrating to watch. He'd stand there and he'd get the worst player in the field and he'd send him down the in goals and he'd run through the whole team, hand the kid the ball over the line and they'd put it down. Okay. Do you know how frustrating that was to be the older brother of that?
Now, mate,
I must be adopted.
Being the older brother, what's Joey got 1,100? How many points did you get? Mate,
I think I was just off that list a little bit. Yeah.
Did you ever kick a goal anywhere?
Hit the post once.
Right. All right, speaking of that, of course, that's a game you'll see on Saturday night somewhere else. Eels take on the Knights, and the Knights, boys, are back in form. They played really well last week against the Eagles down at Brookvale.
I think we turned it around a couple of weeks ago against the Sharks, even though we didn't win. But last week was outstanding. Numbers in tackles, intensity. It's a big game for us, so, when you turn around from a slump, you've got to win back-to-back, so it's a big one. Eels, last week, Sterling much improved. Tim Smith, much improved.
Yeah, played very well. The first time they've won 2 games in a row all year. Big blow for Parramatta, no Tamana Tahu. He looks like being out for 4 to 6 weeks, maybe the season.
Yeah. Did his knee. Right now, we're going to take another break. Chief's getting very tired, and after this break, Annalise Brackensack's on the show. Oh, something. Footy show, and it's time for the Crazy John's quiz. Some people in the crowd are going to win some money tonight, courtesy of our star contestants. So we have got a beautiful young lady joining us right now. Her name is Annalise Brackensack. She's just told me how to pronounce it. I think I got it just about right. Now, of course, Dancing on Ice starts next week, 7:30 next Tuesday night, live on Channel 9, and you are one of the stars. How's it been going so far?
It's been a lot of fun. It's been extremely challenging and very nerve-wracking, but really, really good. It's an honour to work with the legendary...
All the crew, yeah. Now, have you got
What?
There you are.
Are they? Ah!
You can skate great too, yeah. Yeah.
Before. I haven't got time to
Have
watch
you got an
telly at
ice
the moment.
skating background like you do it when you were a kid to the
Certainly
local...
not,
No?
certainly not. I've been about 3 times when I was a kid, you know, school outings and things like that, but
Now,
it's...
you've been injured too, I believe.
I have.
What'd you do?
2 fractured right ribs. Oh,
tragic.
I love it, thanks.
Yeah.
The sympathy. Yeah, no, we had a bit of a fall, a bit of a lift go wrong. Unfortunately, and I fractured 2 right ribs, but I'm back on the ice now and I'm going to give it my best and, yeah.
Excellent.
All right, now what we're going to do, of course, we've got a quiz coming up. Now, you're not going to take on these 2 wood ducks on your own.
Okay.
We've got a special
Thank you.
guest to come in with you. Please make him welcome the wonderful Reggie Reagan.
How are you, darling? How are you, darling? You well?
Fabulous.
How long's it been? 2, 3, 4 years? Oh, we were young and experimenting. It was great. Look at these poofters over here. We're going to give it to them. Now, I tell you what, ice skating, how's it going?
It's good. It's really good. It's difficult. It's fun. It's fabulous. Just like you.
I could teach you a thing or two about ice skating, but why could I tell you? Just have a look at this vision. I was one of the best. This was me trialling up. This was me trialling up in Lilyhammer in '94. Yeah, very good.
Unbelievable, Reg. You're a star, Reg.
Special.
Incredible stuff.
Maybe you should don a blonde curly wig and do it for me. What do you
Hey?
reckon? You should maybe perhaps don a different wig and you can act as me
That's
on
no
Tuesday
wig.
night.
That's not a wig. That's really Reg
Oh,
Reagan.
okay.
There's no... It's not pretending to be someone. No.
Anytime. Let's do this thing.
Okay.
All right, what we're going to do, we're playing for a couple of people up in the crowd. We're playing for Sophie and Ollie up there in the crowd somewhere. There they are, just there, somewhere. And it's $100 if you get one right, $100 off if you get one wrong, boys and girls. So here we go.
Okay, relax.
All right, let's do it.
Question 1.
No, it's all right. Annalise has done some work with the show before.
Oh,
hasn't
you
she?
have, of course you have. You've been a regular on the show.
I have over the
And
years.
you did a street talk for us once. Let's have a look at that. Because
Oh, God.
Hey, I'm Annalise Brackenzick and I'm down here at the Manly Surf Coca-Cola Classics for the Footy Show. What do you prefer, surfing or sex?
Oh, surfing for sure.
For sure, why?
Yeah. Oh, it's just more, it's easier to get.
If you were to ask Reg the same question now, what would the answer be, Reg?
What would it
What's
be?
that?
Surfing or
Surfing
sex?
or sex? Which do you prefer?
I'll take sex 6 days a week. And for the other one, I'll take sex as well. I love it. Do you remember Estonia? How good was Estonia? Hey, they won't forget us there in a hurry.
All right, question 1. Ice skating. You ready to go on the buzzer?
Okay.
Ready to
Ice
go.
skating is believed to have begun in which country? It's a multiple choice. Australia, Holland, Sweden or Iceland?
Go.
Yes, Pete.
Gonna bury himself.
Sweden?
Yeah, Sweden.
Yeah,
is right.
Sweden.
All right. Now, of course, speaking of ice, we here at the Footy Show, we've done a lot of stuff on ice skates and we've been brilliant on the ice over the years. Sterlo's just been amazing. Myself, there's nothing I can't do on the ice. Look, Pete, look at this.
The boat legs help. What do you
You
think,
were
the
born
legs?
to be an ice skater. Look at you go. Just absolutely brilliant. And the fat's always steady on his feet on the ice. Very good. Now, the question is,
Good old days.
Matty Johns, do you know Matt, Reg?
Heard of him. Good looker.
Yeah, he's had one of those memorable moments on ice. Watch carefully at this vision and then we'll ask you a question.
That's gotta hurt.
Oh, that gotta hurt. Question being, what safety gear was Matt Johns wearing?
He was wearing elbow pads
That's right, Red.
Yes, well done.
You're a freak.
Yeah. We got him, darling. We got him where we want him.
A multiple choice question. Annalise means what in German? Does it mean ice skater, beautiful, gracious, or tall?
All of the above.
Yes!
Okay. Well done.
Yeah.
Hey, who said blondes are stupid? Hey?
That was E, yeah. A physical question. Now, here we go. In skating, what is a camel spin? Both, you have to get up and demonstrate for us. Demonstrate a camel spin for us.
Camel spin.
Demonstrating with Pete, I'll tell you.
So get up and do a camel spin. You got to get up too.
We
your
haven't
team.
heard of any.
And whoever does the best camel spin gets the 100.
I'm not showing you my real camel spin. What do we do? I've got practice. What do we do?
So I'm laid down.
What's the bit?
I need a run. You've rooted my sciatica, darling.
Right. Well, I don't know. Which was better? I had no idea. They were both pretty ordinary. I reckon what we'll do, $50 each. All right, sweet. $50 each. How many ice rinks in Australia are there? It's a multiple choice. 7, 107, 17 or 27? Yes, Pete.
What do you reckon? 107? That'd be a lot, wouldn't it? Or, yeah, or 17. 17.
17's right, Pete. All right,
We're getting competitive here.
it's a singing question for 100. I'd like you two to get up and do any Vanilla Ice song that you know.
Okay. Dun 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 dun.
Probably to the camera over there.
Sorry.
Stop. Probably, and listen. Ice is back with the dude. Jump things. Got a hold of me tightly. Spin like a wheel. It's gonna stop. No, I don't know. Come on, just go. Be on the toe. Come on, jump in the lap. Don't hold us down. Be on the toe. Ice, baby.
That's 100. That's 100. You blokes have got to see any...
No, what we'd like to claim, I think we should get money for not knowing any Vanilla Ice songs.
No, you've got to sing a Cole Chisel song. Any Cole Chisel song, get up there now and do it for 100.
How's that start?
This will be good.
Flame Trees is good. How does that start?
Left
my heart
to the saps, the camels, and I sold my soul and the cigarettes to the black market man. I've had the Vietnam cold turkey from the ocean to the Silver City, and it's only other vets could understand.
These are a tough crowd.
That was disgraceful. That was...
We don't lose money.
What key was that in?
I was in F, he was in G.
All right. What are Torval and Dean's first names? Reg.
Jane and Chris.
No.
Oh.
Yes, go.
Yeah, you go.
Jane and...
Jane and...
Yes, 100.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You go, girlfriend.
And that's it.
Oh.
That is it. So 450, 250. I got the cash right here. Now you'll see, thanks very much. You'll see Dancing on Ice, of course, live next Tuesday night on Channel 9. It features Annalise, of course, Michael Slater, who else? Jan Rooney.
Carl
Stefanovic.
Trish.
Plenty. Jake, it's all of them.
Many more.
Absolutely. So tune in at 7:30 next Tuesday night for that. All right. Thank you, Annalise. Thank you very much. Please, a big hand for Annalise.
Thanks for having me.
Big hand for Reg Reagan. All right, we'll take another break on the Footy Show. Come back, something else is happening.
answer to the Jim Beam. The answer to the Jim Beam trivia question this week. Well, the question was, what team did Joey score the most points against? And the answer was the Sharks.
Who said that? Which one?
It was the Sharks.
Footy might.
Yeah, anyway, that was the winner.
Yes.
And last week's winner, congratulations to Karen Holloway of Queensland. You've won that wonderful prize, so well done to you.